Okay gents, we have 10 superhero characters for our new Ben 10 show. What do you think? Pretty good. But what if they were aliens? Yes, that is basically how we got the designs for the original 10 aliens. But could there have been other inspirations for our roster of slimy, freaky, fast and strong extraterrestrials? Well, probably. Obviously creating character designs is a long and slow process, especially for a TV show, so let's try and break down what could have been the inspirations behind 10 of the most iconic aliens on TV. As you could have guessed from the intro, the original idea for the Ben 10 show didn't have any aliens in it. Instead, the original Omnitrix would have just turned Ben into an adult superhero with a unique costume and powers, very much inspired by DC's Dial H for Hero. And by inspired, I mean almost a one-to-one copy. So Man of Action got to work on adding the alien team, with most of the transformations now having deeper connections to both superheroes and alien lore, with a splash of real-life inspirations too. Like Greymatter, the most obvious grey from any Ben 10 alien. Like duh, it's even in the name. Greys are the most basic aliens you can get, being small, skinny, grey-skinned with large eyes on top of their heads. It's a pretty easy connection, especially when you look at Greymatter's beta design. Greys are also known to be very intelligent, and in most medias they're seen abducting either animals or people to conduct experiments, so Greymatter's super intelligence just makes sense. Okay, so he's a grey alien. I honestly don't think there's any reason for giving him some frog elements, like his eyes and the ability to leap and climb on walls more efficiently. The only frog alien connection I could find are the Loveland Frogmen, which are a group of bipedal frog humanoids that carry glowing wands. I mean, sounds pretty alien, I guess. Either way, they did bring back more frog aliens in the later shows, so hey, if it works, it works. Sort of the same reasoning for Heatblast, because honestly he's just a fire elemental. Don't get me wrong, Heatblast is awesome and his design still works, but we've seen it multiple times. Humanoid on fire isn't really that original. We see it in the Human Torch, Brand, Tekka, and probably a lot of other characters. Not really the designer's fault, since two of what I mentioned came after Ben 10, but like I said, if it works, it works. Plus he does have some details that make him more unique. The thick rocks around his neck make it look like a little volcano, with the fire on his head being the eruption, and his face might have some inspiration from Mayan masks, since probably they had some type of fire deity in mind. Even in the show they have a Mayan mask that is pretty similar in design to Heatblast's face. As for any space-themed inspiration, you could say he's a living shooting star or meteor, with how he flies around with a blast of fire.
Special delivery!
Diamondhead is all diamond, or at least some type of diamond-like material, which gives him a very high defense. Like Heatblast, the rock monster character is a pretty generic one, most popular one being the Thing from Fantastic Four, but Diamondhead is a lot more unique in both design and powers. Other than just having high defense, Diamondhead can shoot projectiles, create structures, or even make weapons like swords and shields. Which, along with his large jaw and head crest that give the shape of a medieval helmet, I'd probably say there's some knight inspiration. Specifically, the head shape reminds me of the Amulet or the frogmouth helmets. Yeah, biological armor, check, helmet-like head, check, and his own sword and shield, check. We have ourselves a knight alien.
Oh yeah, who's bad?
Which leads us to our second alien fighter, Fourarms. This time being 100% based on wrestlers. Not only being the strongest physically from the bunch, but also having an extra pair of arms to really make that point. A pretty common trope in a lot of character designs, which is why a lot of people compare Fourarms to Machamp. But other than a four-armed wrestler, what if I told you Fourarms is most likely based off insects?
I'm blocking you. That was the dumbest shit I heard all day.
Not only does Fourarms have 3 pairs of limbs like all insects do, but an extra pair of eyes, just like how most insects have multiple or compound eyes. Fourarms is also known for having powerful jumps like grasshoppers, but even just super strength alone is a very common ability in insects. Almost everyone knows how ants can carry 10 times their own weight, and are mostly found in 2 colors, being black and red. Fourarms' main color scheme. Insects aren't just strong though, they're the strongest. The strongest animal in the world being the dung beetle, which can carry over 1,000 times its own weight. No, that is not a typo, that is like me carrying 2 fully loaded dump trucks. So yeah, Fourarms is a bug, the more you know. Which to be fair makes sense, it's a pretty common alien trope, insect-like aliens, also known as bug-eyed monsters. Just like Stinkfly. Maybe that Omnitrix hybrid episode was trying to tell us something after all. Stinkfly is as much of an insect as you can get, having most of his design based on a mix of a fly and a scorpion. And if you ever wondered what that would look like in real life, you don't have to. Meet the scorpion fly, or as I like to call him, the real life Stinkfly. Come on, do I really have to get into it? They're basically twins. But don't worry, the scorpion fly doesn't use his tail to sting, so they're pretty harmless. They use it for other reasons. As for Stinkfly's powers and hygiene, it's a very common stereotype for insects, to be smelly and generally disgusting. Which has some merit, since a lot of insects will spray a disgusting odor when threatened, like the millipede, but a lot of other animals do that too. Other than just bad hygiene, Stinkfly also shoots its slime at enemies, just like the bombardier beetle, which shoots a hot acid that can burn up to 100 degrees at any target. Which kind of make me wish Stinkfly's slime was also that acidic, and then he would definitely be way cooler. But still nothing as cool as Ghostfreak. Who is my favorite, as you could tell. Ghostfreak is a ghost, obviously. Specifically, he's meant to look like a sheet ghost, the most common one you'd find in any Halloween decoration. But what makes his design the coolest for me is what's under the surface. Since Ghostfreak's skin is actually a sort of protective layer that his species can remove, which we don't see till Ghostfreak escapes the Omnitrix. Under Ghostfreak's skin, his design goes from spooky to full-on nightmare fuel. From a grotesque upside-down skeletal head to the tentacles on his chest, Ghostfreak is the embodiment of the fear of the unknown, which is why anytime Ben opens up to show Ghostfreak's real design, it's always done away from the screen, till he eventually becomes a villain. Now what does a ghost have to do with aliens? A good amount, to be honest. Not only are ghosts and aliens both a big discussion in conspiracy theories, but they also go hand in hand in a lot of pop culture. With shows like X-Files, which most of the time focuses on either aliens or ghosts, if not a mix of both. From the two Ghostfreak designs, let's be honest, the scare is definitely an upgrade.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
Advanced technology goes hand in hand with most depictions of extraterrestrials. Whether it's spaceships or weapons, having a tech-themed alien just works. Upgrade is probably the most unique way to portray an alien cyborg. Race of aliens that have merged with machines, like the Cybermen from Doctor Who or Borgs from Star Trek, which always seem to have the same goals, to upgrade their own body with machines, since they deem organic life to be full of imperfections that they must fix. Even his beta design is very cyborg-like, with a lot of exposed wiring and cables, unlike the final design, which is more of a liquid metal being that can merge with machines. Basically a tech version of Venom, another popular alien in the picture, only difference being Venom merges with living things. So that's a lot more alien inspiration than most of the ones we've had so far. Luckily, Accelerate is pretty easy to find his alien inspiration. His body shape and long head is almost identical to that of a xenomorph, one of the most popular alien races in fiction. Accelerate's head is also meant to look like a motorbike helmet, with even a built-in shield included to keep the wind from blowing into his eyes when he's using his super speed. Obviously both xenomorphs and motorbikes are pretty well known for being fast, but another iconic speedster that most likely helped in Accelerate's design can be found on the fossil record, that being the Velociraptor, which could run up to 64 km per hour, and both have also pretty similar body shapes. I guess you could say he's any kind of fast raptor, but Velociraptor is the most iconic. This also is where we go full circle to another alien inspiration, being reptilians, a race of reptile or dinosaur-like aliens, which I'm probably gonna get some flack for including Ripjaws in this category. Yes, Ripjaws is a mermaid anglerfish hybrid, but crocodilians are also semi-aquatic scaly green reptiles with exposed sharp teeth and have one of the strongest bite forces in all of the animal kingdom. And what's Ripjaws' strongest power?
Who needs water when you've got jaws that can rip through steel?
His beta design not only has a more elongated crocodile mouth, but also similar to another one of his design's origins, swamp monsters, specifically the creature from the Black Lagoon, which is the most popular humanoid fish monster of all time. Okay, so let's get back to his main inspiration, the anglerfish. The anglerfish lives up to a mile below the surface with other deep-sea creatures, all of them some of the most alien-looking animals you'll ever find, which is why some aliens in fiction are very heavily inspired by the anglerfish's neighbors. Last alien on the roster we have Wildmutt, whose alien design origins are... Honestly, I have no clue. The only real connection I could find are the aliens from the movie Attack the Block, being completely identical with just a color change that makes them any different. But that movie came out 6 years after the show. There's also a connection between wolves and the moon, but that's a bit of a stretch. They were gonna use a dog to play a xenomorph in the 3rd Alien movie, but that was scrapped. I don't know, I'm really grasping for straws here. I guess you can say Wildmutt is meant to represent the more beast-like aliens, instead of the intelligent humanoid aliens we see in most media, which explains why he can't speak and acts a little more dog-like. Other than that, he's basically a big orange blind dog that has super senses, because it's a pretty common trope for the blind to have super senses like Daredevil, but that's pretty much it. I'm sure I could be way off with what inspired the designs of all these aliens. They were mostly meant to represent the specific superpowers and superhero tropes. Greymatter is the smart one, Heatblast is the fire one, Diamondhead is tough, Fourarms is strong, Stinkfly flies, Ghostfreak is scary, Upgrade is the tech one, Accelerate is the speedster, Ripjaws is the water one, and Wildmutt is the animalistic one.